Since his election in 2014, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi has weaponized the legal system to target anyone who criticizes his Hindu nationalist government, from students expressing critical opinions on social media to journalists reporting on the state-sanctioned violence against Muslims and other minorities, to activists rallying the masses to stand up to Modi's regime. Nonetheless, his relationship with the White House and U.S. lawmakers has only grown stronger, with Modi visiting the U.S. twice during the Biden administration, meeting with the president, and delivering a joint address to Congress. The burgeoning U.S.-India strategic partnership has further enabled Modi's efforts to erode the information ecosystem in India and shore up his hold on power in the lead up to next year's election. Among those jailed by Modi is activist Umar Khalid, who for over 3 years now has been detained without trial after being accused without evidence of being the mastermind behind deadly communal violence in Delhi in 2020, while former President Donald Trump was in India. In fact, a local leader of Modi's own political party instigated his followers to attack Muslims who were protesting against a citizenship law that discriminated against them. Khalid is one of at least 8,000 people who have been arrested under a draconian anti-terror law called the Unlawful Activities Prevention Act, wielded by Modi to jail critics indefinitely. The Intercept has followed Khalid's case closely, and in the fall of 2022, award-winning journalist Sonia Falero went to Delhi to meet with Khalid's family and friends, including Khalid's father, who is with us today. Through those interviews and time spent with Khalid many years prior, Falero traces Khalid's political trajectory from his early grapplings with police violence against Muslims to his outspoken activism as a PhD student that led to his arrest on sedition charges. Despite being branded by Modi's party and the pro-government media as an enemy of the state, Khalid continued to fight for a just and democratic India. When Falero spoke with Khalid's mother, Sabiha Khanum, she told her, "My son has had a bright future. He could have moved abroad, bought a nice house, a nice car. It was all within his grasp. But he said, I only want to live in India. And he's the one they call a terrorist?" I would encourage you all to read Sonia's in-depth profile of Umar Khalid, which we published this summer in partnership with the Indian news outlet scroll.in. We have a handout with a QR code over there. The piece shows the emotional impact Khalid's imprisonment had on the people closest to him and the chilling effect of Modi's use of anti-terror laws to silence his critics. As Meenakshi Ganguly of Human Rights Watch told Falero, there's no evidence that Umar Khalid was engaged in violence, so on what grounds is the UAPA being used against him? Simply because he made statements the government disliked? In the past year, the situation for journalists and activists in India and the diaspora has only worsened. Last week, a top Indian official sanctioned prosecution against Arundhati Roy for, quote, provocative speech and the promotion of enmity. Press freedom in Kashmir has been systematically whittled away as independent journalists have been jailed under UAPA and their news websites blocked by the government. And perhaps most troubling, Canada's Prime Minister Justin Trudeau accused India of assassinating Sikh activist Hardeep Singh Nijjar on Canadian soil, though the Canadian government has yet to share the evidence produced from their investigation. The Intercept has reported extensively on Modi's crackdown on dissidents in an effort to draw U.S. attention to the political prisoners held indefinitely without trial in India. As we've previously reported, Twitter, or X under Elon Musk, has also collaborated with the Modi government in mass censorship of dissenting views, complying with Modi's demand to remove a BBC documentary critical of the Indian Prime Minister on the platform. As the Biden administration cultivates a strategic relationship with Modi, critics see ever stronger evidence that Biden is falling short of his pledge to champion human rights around the world. As a final note, I think one of the most dangerous things about what is happening to Umar Khalid, which we are also seeing around the conflict in Israel and Gaza, is that speaking out against state power is often equated with terrorism or sympathy for terrorism. I want to read a little from our article on Khalid describing the period in 2016 when his role in organizing a vigil for a Kashmiri man was conflated with sedition by pro-Modi TV news. He appeared on Times Now, a cable news channel known for its right-wing bias, as part of a panel discussion about the vigil. "You are more dangerous to the country than Maoist terrorists," screamed Arnab Goswami, the channel's editor-in-chief at the time. "Someone is going to name you as anti-national, and I'm naming you as anti-national tonight." Khalid, struggling to get a word in over Goswami's berating, responded with a bewildered smile. Over the next few hours, other cable channels adopted the same rhetoric, describing the students as pro-Pakistan and secessionist while running clips from the event on loop. Khalid, with his Muslim name, was singled out. The channels labeled him as the event's mastermind, foreshadowing the accusations leading to his imprisonment years later, and falsely claimed that he had visited Pakistan. They called him a sympathizer of Jaish-e-Mohammed, a militant group listed by the U.S. Treasury as a terrorist organization, an accusation that the media claimed was based on an Indian government report. The government later denied the report's existence, but none of the outlets issued a retraction. When speech is equated with violence and misinformation spirals out of control, it is important for politicians in the U.S. to maintain their ability to think critically and push for freedom of speech and freedom to express political dissent. As Pankaj Mishra told The Intercept this week, things are going to get much, much worse for a whole lot of writers and journalists in India.